Hi, this is the first episode of From Scribble to Screen, a series where I'll be talking with Francisco about some of the movies and video games that he's done concept work on. So, yeah, I guess introduce ourselves. I'm Tony Franklin, and this is Francisco Ruiz Velasco, concept artist, worked on like legit concept artist, worked on some big movies.
Hellboy 2, Pacific Rim. I did work on The Hobbit and Thor Ragnarok, and some stuff at DreamWorks, some stuff at Blur Studios. So
But
it's been a little bit of everything.
we were going to talk about Hellboy 2 today.
Yeah. I was working at Blur Studios, and one day we just finished doing that short film called A Gentleman's Duel.
Co-directed that one, right?
Yeah, so pretty much the day of the screening. Well, I invited Guillermo to the screening, and that day instead he answered if I wanted to go and work with him on Hellboy. So I was there from the very, very beginning.
That's really cool, yeah.
Almost like the first employee, let's
Oh,
say.
nice.
And yeah, and I was there also almost to the very last too.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Like I'm looking at some of the portfolio stuff you worked because you helped design Wink, Mr.
Yeah,
Wink.
yeah. I think Mike Mignola did a drawing.
Yeah.
But he did it in his style kind of thing, and it was like skinnier and
Yeah.
not too much like the final thing
Yeah.
that you see in the movie. So pretty much part of my job on those days was also to take designs from artists like Mike or other people that they have like cool ideas, but their style is hard to translate
Yeah.
to the screen, and they wanted to see more something closer to what the final product is going to look like.
Okay, yeah.
So I was almost like translating like their drawings into something more like 3D, more real,
Less
more
just like
tangible. Yeah, more
that
like,
arty style.
yeah, like less graphic,
Yeah.
and more volumetric, more real. So I was doing a lot of that. I did that for Mike. I did some of that stuff for Wayne Barlow that he was designing also.
Okay.
But Guillermo always was asking me to do a pass.
Okay, yeah.
I was pitching my own, not just redrawing the other guys' stuff.
You weren't just
Yeah,
like, yeah, no, that's super cool. I mean, because I'm actually looking at one of the, I guess, earlier sketches for him, and Mr. Wink was like way smaller looking, like much more like almost like a guy with a big like mask
yeah.
on him
It was more
rather
like a
than a,
goat kind of
yeah,
size.
yeah. He
And
didn't have that ultra bulky thing going on. He still had the mechanical hand, I assume. Was that in the script? I guess it asked for that hand.
yeah. I mean, it has a mechanical hand from the beginning, but there were like things that that we didn't have planned, or like at least they were not in Mike's sketch, like like him throwing the hand
Yeah.
with the chain. Honestly, I think Guillermo took that from the
Time for breakfast!
in that short film. I have the robots throwing the fists with the chain
Yeah.
and everything. I
Which
think Guillermo
reminded
like,
I was gonna say it
yeah.
reminded me a lot of like the old like for me it was Transor Z. I think it was called
Yeah, for me it
Mansinger
was
Z.
Messenger. See, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely comes from there,
Yeah, the
because
throwing the fist thing is classic.
yeah,
It's
because
so good.
when I was doing the robot thing, for me it was like an homage, or like the way to
Yeah.
to play tribute to those cartoons, and then I think Guillermo took it from me. So I remember the first time we saw the Mr. Wing costume.
Yeah.
Man, it was so unreal, because even though we knew it was a costume,
Of course, yeah.
because I designed the thing, and
Yeah.
we saw how they build it and everything. But that thing was massive.
Yeah. I
It
was gonna say
was,
he's like 9 feet tall, right? Like 8 or 9 feet.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
It,
yeah.
it was huge. And then the first time they invited us to see it, we coming into this stage, and there was the guy like fully costume and everything,
Awesome.
and with the guys with the remote controllers, controlling the face, and Guillermo was with us, and then the guy kind of comes with the suit like, whoa. I remember everyone kind of stepped back, because
That's cool.
the thing looked so real that it was intimidating.
Another one I think of is the King's Guard at the very beginning of the movie with the crow masks on. And I know you had worked on that. I've seen some of your concept stuff on that. Was there anything specific? Like, did they even ask for the crow mask or?
No, well, at the very beginning, there was like those guards were like the regular guards with the crow mask.
Yeah.
But the king, it has another ones with an owl mask.
Oh,
and
okay.
they were like all white. And but because budget, because they couldn't do like that many costumes, they decided just to narrow it to just one kind of guard.
Yeah.
So
but they look cool. Like that was the thing, is like you see them and you're like, give me a little more of that. They're like, no, we're good.
Yeah. I think that was just purely me just throwing that idea there. I was a little bit afraid that it will look way too similar to the pyramid head in
and Silent Hill, right?
Hill.
Yeah, the Silent Hill ones.
Yeah. But we it was quite different. It wasn't exactly the same. So
I didn't put those two together. I'm familiar with both, but I didn't put together. I was like, now that you say it, I'm like, oh, okay. I could see like not not the confusion, but that you'd be like, oh.
Yeah, and it wasn't me like trying to be like that. It was just coincidence, that when I did the drawing and when we're looking at it, it's like, do you think people is going to think that we took that other character? Yeah, but Guillermo liked it, and it's like, let's roll with this,
How many of the sets did you actually work on? Like, how many of the actual?
I think
did you help design?
Yeah, it was a bunch, because in that movie, we did not have that much budget, so the production was really small.
Okay.
So at some point, I was doing a lot of stuff.
See, it's weird because I always assumed that it was like massive, like a massive budget film, because it looks. You see it on screen.
It looks bigger than what it was, like, and I think that was the goal that we wanted. We had like I think we had 80 million for the entire movie, and Guillermo wanted to make it look like 120.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I think sets, obviously I work in the troll market. I did designs for that. I don't know how it's called, but that chamber, they have the fight at the end.
Oh yeah, with like the Golden Army chamber, right?
Yeah. And then the palace of the king, the throne room.
At the very beginning.
Yeah, what that throne room, would you have like those kind of leaves or stuff like falling?
Yeah.
But they're coming to see the king.
Was there anything like particularly like inspired you on that one? Was there something that you're like, oh, I'm pulling from this, or was it just like, I want that? Like, to me, it felt like that blend of like modern, like urban decay mixed with like I mean the autumn in the forest. That's.
It was a little bit, it was a little bit like that. The rust colors and all that. Because I mean, Guillermo is a great art director, and a lot of the art direction came from him, and the idea of using those kind of colors was because these guys, I think they were elves.
Yeah.
They were kind of in decadence, like about to disappear. So so
they
it's
were
not
just
like the golden age. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he wanted to juxtapose that industrial
Yeah.
layer on top. That's why you see. Yeah, I think they shoot those scenes. I don't remember if in a train station or something like that.
Because I remember I mean, the throne was a really cool part, and I think I saw some sketches you had done, or some concept art you had done for the throne itself being in front of like a furnace or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was the furnace of a train engine.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't catch that that's what that was. The troll market itself, I remember when that came out, that was a big deal. Like, people were talking about that because it was like every time you rewatch the movie, you're like, oh, look at that guy in the back there, or look at that monster in the back there. And that was, again, almost the frustrating part. You're like, no, let's go see what the like the musician was doing, or like one of those guys in the corner, and that was always
Yeah.
like really fun.
So I think that was kind of like almost like the equivalent, because I remember people mentioning this also, that it was the equivalent of the cantina from Star Wars kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so pretty much the idea was that we wanted to, at least Guillermo wanted to show like this world that we haven't seen in the
Yeah.
first one, and he wanted to be populated so it feels like alive, and
Yeah.
that they were like, like.
And they were packed in deep, man. Like,
Yeah,
it was...
well, they make it look like that. Because, well, one of the things when we were doing that they wanted to do more costumes than makeups, because costumes are just like masks or stuff that you can just put on really quickly.
Or if you're doing the
Uh,
makeup, you're 2, 3,
it-
4, 8 hours on.
Yeah, and then it costs a lot of money to do that.
You could just put whomever in the box or in the suit if you need to,
and
right?
then if you notice in that sequence, there is always something big kind of blocking the screen, so it feels like that is more packed.
Yeah.
Like I think there is a guy with a gigantic hand like moving, and so there's always kind of blocking, so you don't have almost like 100% of the screen to
So
see
it's
everything.
just a lie, right? Like that's one of the things I always notice when I watch movies. I'm like, okay, that's on a soundstage, because there's always that corner, like a sharp corner to the street where you're like, there shouldn't be that street should just be going. Like, that's New York
Exactly.
City. That line should be going like really long, but because it's like, oh, it turns abruptly.
Yeah, or there's always a building on the back like blocking the view, right?
So that's like the real to watch for. It's like, this is how small it actually was. Look at us cheating.
Yeah,
Like,
and that
cool.
place, the place where they did the market, it was an old quarry.
Yeah.
So it was really like an underground cave.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and it was a cool place. At the beginning, I really wanted to be there for the shooting of that part. I wasn't there, but then I glad that I wasn't there, because the production people told me that pretty much everyone that was on that set end up like sick with flu or something like that.
Oh, geez, Louise.
Because I think the place was like so close and so
you're
humid
circulating
and
everything in there.
warm, and so many people that pretty much everyone got sick there.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff.